So what, we're some kind of Brave New World here or something? Last night, I got to see Captain America, Brave New World. So, first things first, I liked the MCU. I liked how it ended. I think Avengers Endgame and Infinity War are really fun movies, and Phase 4 hasn't been the greatest. There's been some good ones here and some bad ones there. Last Marvel film that I saw was Deadpool 3, and I thought it was very enjoyable. I thought it was just pretty fine, pretty okay, pretty decent, lots of good laughs. And I said maybe the MCU was heading in the right direction because they're slowing down things, they're focusing on a story, making sure they have things ready and planning things out and everything. And that's all good, and I really can't wait to see because I really do like the MCU. I like this universe of films, and I definitely can see it still going if they do the right things. And with this film, we already are seeing the payoffs where at the end of Infinity War or Endgame, we got to see that Steve Rogers hung up the capes and he gave the shield to Anthony Mackie's Falcon. And now he's the new Captain America. And that was exciting at the time because it's like, oh, wow, now we get a new Captain America. Even in this film, Sam doesn't want to be like the same type of Captain America. He wants to be one that inspires people. That's how he's going to be different than Steve. And also, this film is going to have Harrison Ford, which I always love seeing him in films, playing as a new Red Hulk, monster kind of like variant. So I was like, all right, yeah, this is pretty cool. And it's got Giancarlo, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. And even the first trailer seemed like it was going to be very intense. And, this film had so much potential. Sadly, I don't think it was that great. Now, in case you didn't know, this is apparently a sequel to the last Incredible Hulk film that we got, I want to say 15 to 16 years ago. A little too late for that, but hey, at least we got it. They're woven in the story of that plotline into this new MCU, and I'll explain more about that later. But yeah, I wasn't very happy. I wasn't satisfied. I just thought it was fine. So, just fine. Like, yeah, the action moments were pretty great, but there was just a lot of really bad and really cringe dialogue, a lot of bad moments here and there, and overall, I also just thought it was very boring at times. I was just like waiting to get to the parts with Captain America, him throwing his shield around. I really just wanted more of that in this film. And there are those moments, but it's in like 1/3 of the entire film. So let's talk about it. Anthony Mackie is playing the new Captain America, and he does a great job of his new role. I think he fits the role very well. I think he's a pretty good actor. I really want to see him in more films. I want to definitely see him how he changes over time, and hopefully he does get even better. I definitely do think he can improve. Like I mentioned, Harrison Ford is in this film. Good old 80 years old Harrison still acting. He also did a good job. There were some moments where I really didn't like his performance sometimes, and really it was only like one time, but it wasn't anything too bad. There's like this new guy who plays the new Falcon now that Sam Wilson is the new Captain America, played by Danny Ramirez, and I don't really know him in any other projects, so I thought he was kind of cringe, kind of, kind of annoying. His hairstyle even gave off the fuckboy attitude. He kind of gave off old MCU vibes where it's like he has to say something funny after a very serious moment to like set the tone of the moment. It worked here and there, but overall I just thought he was kind of cringe, and like I do want him to like maybe I don't mind having him in the MCU. I don't hate him already, but he's just kind of cringe, and maybe things will change over time. I mentioned Giancarlo, I believe that's pronounced, is in this film, and he is of course a bad guy, and that's all you really need to know. I thought he did pretty fine. I would have liked to see him do some more things, but he was fine. I'm not going to talk about anyone else in this film because that really doesn't matter at this time, plus it'll spoil it. The director is Julius Onah, I believe that's pronounced. He was involved with the Cloverfield Paradox, as well as the Girls in Trouble and Bad Genius, those type of films. So hopefully this was a big break for him. There are some other new characters. There's like the Secretary Defense General, I believe, who's apparently an ex-widow, and she has some scenes where she's kicking ass. Bucky also comes back into this film for like one scene, but it's not really important. At least it's not important to talk about right now. This film has some weird pacing and editing issues. Let's just start with pacing. Like, there's times where it's like very fast-paced in action, and I think it's really fun and all. It's very enjoyable to watch. But then it goes to these slow moments, and it's like they're trying to like set some plants in and like set things up for later. But sometimes it just can be just so boring. Like, I genuinely wanted the film to hurry up with the scenes it was in, just to get back to the scenes where Sam is throwing the shield around, because that's what I came here for. This is a superhero movie. There's supposed to be action in it, and I guess some sci-fi, but still there's action in it, and the action is good, but there's not enough of it, and I really wish the film would focus more on that. I could have sworn the last few Captain America films really focused on action. And by action, I mean like actual like fights and like stunts being pulled off and all that. I don't really think this film did a lot of that, and I don't know if that was for budgeting reasonings or just because they wanted to just have things slow down, and like it also wanted to be like this like, oh, who did it, who is behind this whole mess, like drama movie. It really didn't work out, and I really wish the movie would just focus a bit more on action, or at least have more of that in it. The dialogue between characters can be really bad because they essentially just repeat things back to the audience, or they do things where they'll explain basically the whole plot and premise of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which, by the way, if you haven't watched, you kind of maybe need to at least get a refresher, or at least a summary of what happened, because this film incorporates things that happened from that one TV series. Also, it like reiterates its same plot in a sense, because of course based on the trailers, but Isaiah Bradley's character goes kind of crazy and does something he's not supposed to do, and that's why the whole plot is about, oh, someone's been spying on us, and the inner circle's been compromised. That's almost what happened in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. At least, like, themes of that happened in that show. So I'm kind of disappointed that the film had to, like, rehash these things, if not reuse them. Bradley had to go back to prison after he just got out. Holy shit, I feel so bad for him. This motherfucker is not leaving his house ever again. Even the trailers give away so much about what this plot is about. Like, it's even predictable at times, like, oh, you just know this is going to happen, or it's going to end out this way. So there really wasn't any big surprises. There is one surprise in the film, which I guess if you're a real big Marvel fan, you'll enjoy. But even that, like, new thing isn't even that good in this film. This kind of brings on another, like, quick little rant I want to talk about. Marvel, Disney Cinematic Universe, please stop fucking giving things away in your fucking trailer. It is so crazy how much of this film was not a surprise to me because it was in the fucking trailer. I understand you gotta market the film, you need to show things off to get people excited, to get people in the fucking theaters, but maybe save some fucking surprises, and like, don't have the one surprise in this film be so bad. But yeah, it would just, like, imagine how many more movies and video games would be so much better if the marketing didn't fucking spoil everything that was going to be in this film. Oh, all these characters are going to be in it, so make sure you go see it. Well, we have to show off the Red Hulk. You definitely like the Hulk. You definitely got to go see this film. We could have had anything to, like, maybe tease at that. No, we just got to show it in the trailer. How cool would it have been if it was such a surprise to everyone who saw it that Harrison Ford's character, also he's the president turned into the fucking Hulk in this film? It doesn't matter, we know it, and we also know he's going to fight Captain America. And it's funny because Marvel knows how to keep surprises in a film. They did this with the last two Avengers films. They kept so much out of the trailers that they wanted to keep the actual movie a surprise. Why did they go back to just spoiling everything in the trailers? I don't fucking get it, and I really wish they would stop. It almost makes me think like, well, why do I even bother fucking watching? I can just wait for it to come to Disney Plus in like a month. The writing in this film can sometimes be a little bit goofy. Like, again, there's like an overarching like villain in this film, and he's very, very bad and very goofy, and he says some of the most cringe dialogue I've ever fucking heard. It's 2025 and Marvel is still pretending like they're in 2001. Please get with the fucking program and stop making such cringe villains. We don't need people being like, oh, who am I? I'm the good guy. I'm Thanos. There were some good fan service moments here and there. That's MCU. There was a few times where like, oh, look, oh, it's that thing. And I already mentioned a few of them, like with the ex-widow girl. I thought the music at times was pretty fine. I actually thought it fit the tones very well, which was actually like surprising. But there was also some times mixed in with the transitions. Like they played these like rap songs for like 10 seconds, and that was very cringe. And I don't know why. It's 2025. Why are we making movies as if it's still 2000 or something? Please stop, Disney. My God, or Marvel. I thought the movie also went to some very cool places. The start of the film took place with this operation mission that Sam had to go and stop. They also had this like base that they had to invade for some information. We also got to see inside of their White House. Eventually, we got to see the Indian Ocean where that, what's it called, Galactus statue is, which is just there. I thought it was really cool that we got to go there and see it up front, and like the scaling of it was so massive. I thought that was really, really fucking cool. And then they even ended again, in the trailers, like the whole fight scene was like in these areas with like the blossom trees. There were some weird color distortion, or like the colors of the background seemed a bit blurry, but it wasn't too distracting. There was also some weird times where like the camera was really zoomed in on certain characters, so better camera work definitely could have been done with this film. Other than that, the camera work during the action scenes were pretty fine. Nothing like too amazing like in Love Hurts that I saw last time. There's also weird moments where like characters keep answering their phones and it keeps transitioning to other scenes, as well as there's just so many times. This involves what I was mentioning earlier about it being boring. Like there's just times where Sam Wilson is just talking to people and it's just like, oh my god, can we hurry this up? I just thought it was really funny that like people kept getting the information from phone calls, and like it's like the same vibration, the same everything. It's like, hold up, I need more plot. The phone call plot. It's like in Law and Order where it's like the plot only continues when you get a phone call. But yeah, let's actually talk about this whole film. Skip to this point if you haven't, if you want to stay free of spoilers, because I'll talk about everything, including the end credit scenes, and people will probably want to know about that. So yeah, Brave New World, new MCU movie. You know, like I mentioned, Sam Wilson is the new Captain America, so he's gonna, kick some ass, live up to the standards that Steve left behind, and, honor the shield that he was given. We start the film with this, like, mission to stop these, like, terrorists from collecting or buying some mysterious MacGuffin item that we don't need to know about. We get introduced to the new Falcon, who apparently is on standby for a lot of the times and can really only be let out of the cage or only certain times. And the guy who plays the Falcon is kind of cringe at times, kind of reminds me of old MCU where it's like, I gotta be funny at these random times. But, maybe one day he'll bring the right amount of energy to the MCU. Of course, Sam and his team stopped this mission from happening, and we learned that the mission was to actually retrieve adamantium, which, if you know, adamantium involves a lot of other things in the MCU, like Wolverine's, like, material, like inner material his claws are made of and all that. This material apparently is stronger than vibranium, which, by the way, vibranium is now incorporated into Captain America's like wings, so that's pretty cool. He uses them in a very fun way, and I thought they were very cool to look at. We also in this mission got to see Giancarlo being involved. I think he was the one who was supposed to be the seller. He was supposed to be the one providing it to this mysterious buyer, but we had to stop it. After that mission, Sam gets to go back to Bradley. We get introduced to him. We get to see he's still doing well, and him and the new Falcon, Joaquin, his name is Joaquin in his universe. Funny. I never really met another Joaquin, but hey, that's his name. They're training, they're having fun, but then they get an invitation to the White House because there's a party. And at the beginning of the film, Thaddeus Ross had like won the election, so now there's this party. Everyone's invited, everyone's getting their good suits on, and as the party continues, Sam gets brought into a conference room where they talk about the adamantium and how there's gonna be an agreement between America and Japan, like this peace treaty to get more of it because it came from the Indian Ocean where that random Galactus statue is, and they don't talk about why it's there specifically, but they know the adamantium is used for a lot of inventions, a lot of like technology they can use, and like health advancements and all that. Then all of a sudden Bradley gets all fucking crazy and he starts shooting at the president, and him and a bunch of other people who are supposed to be security guards also start shooting, and there's this big commotion. Everyone's all fighting and trying to stop the shooters, and eventually Bradley is arrested again. So that sucks for him, but he doesn't know what happened. And then Sam gets upset about this and even talks to the president. It's like, hey, what the fuck is going on? And I like the scene where he just walks in to the president like he doesn't give no fucks. I thought that was actually a pretty cool scene. Like, get the fuck out of my way. Also, before all this, Thaddeus was like, hey, I want to start the Avengers again because that was pretty cool and we need more money. Doesn't really come in that much, but Ross is wanting to do that, Thaddeus Ross. So he talks to the president. He's like, hey, Bradley's innocent. He would never do that. Let me figure out what's going on. But Ross is like, nah, that guy tried to kill me. So I'm going to let this other girl, Sabra, take care of everything because she's ex-widow and I trust her. And he says like, now run along, son. And that was pretty insulting to him. So he's like, oh, fuck this guy. Sam then decides to work alone, of course, with Joaquin to figure out what's going on exactly with why Bradley decided to go all fucking crazy and everything. He's then later attacked by Seth, played by Giancarlo, who was the seller, and he managed to almost fuck him up, but Sam didn't have his like armor on, so it was almost a pretty fair fight. Eventually Sam overcame him and beat him up and everything. There was a really, the action in that scene was pretty fun actually. Getting to see them throw knives and shoot. I really wanted more of that. But Sam is like, oh, you're going to jail, buddy. But then he sees that he has a phone and he gets an interception or a call from some mysterious stranger that we don't know yet. So they then take that phone and plug it into a computer and they figure out what's going on, and they have to go to this base that's apparently really hidden. So they go there, investigate, sneak around. There's some cool little like stealth parts, but it doesn't really last that long. In fact, it actually doesn't last long at all. It's very short. I really would have liked if they had more of that. I mean, if we're not going to have action, at least have some cool stealth. But yeah, they just break the fence and they just walk in the door and they do it in 30 seconds. So yeah. Through the elevator, they see this secret room where someone's apparently been plotting to brainwash people, manipulate them, and it turns out it's done by Samuel Stearns. And if you don't know who that is, good, because neither do I. Played by Tim Blake Nelson, the original Sam Stearns, all the way from like 2008. Which is fucking crazy. Yeah, this is what I was talking about when I said like, yeah, this is just a sequel to that original like Incredible Hulk film. So he was upset that by the way, I have not seen that movie in so long. From what I do remember, Samuel Stearns was this very smart guy. I don't exactly remember what happened to him, but right now it turns out he has this deal with the president that he supplies him with his life-saving drugs, and that's why Ross is still alive, and he even takes these pills. We got to see it throughout the film, and eventually Stearns will be given his freedom back. But eventually we find out that Stern has been also using his recent technology to brainwash people and get the president killed and turn him into a monster. And yeah, I remember the film saying like Ross was responsible for putting him behind bars. I could be completely wrong because, again, I have not seen the original Hulk. I have not seen the original Hulk from 2008. Regardless, he is the main villain. He was behind everything. He was like, all right, you're going to die now, so I'm going to have my 4 men beat you up. But they get beat up, and he gets away. Then eventually they're saved by Sabra. I think it's Sabra, that girl who's the ex-widow, and she gets to kick some ass, kind of like how Scarlett Johansson used to do back in the old days of Iron Man 2. Or was it Iron Man? No, it was Iron Man 2. So they work together and they have a lot of talking scenes where they talk about what's going on, and they talk about how the drugs are mysterious, so they send it to a lab. They also capture Giancarlo, and there's some scenes where they talk. All while this is happening, America is apparently meeting with Japan, or at least the presidents are, the leaders, and it turns out that Japan and America aren't on great terms anymore because they're like, what the fuck happened at that press conference? We almost died. Sorry, they were at the White House. Like, there was a bunch of people at the White House, so all the leaders. So Japan is mad because they almost got killed, but America's like, no, we're trying to figure things out. It's still fine. Let's still have this treaty and everything. But eventually Stearns also leaks some information to Japan, so they're also just pretty pissed at the whole situation. So now everyone's like, send the ships, we're gonna get that material ourselves, we're gonna get to go to the Indian Ocean right now, and America goes there too. So a lot of things are happening. The ships are all there. Captain America tries to like calm things down, but Stearns uses his ability to like hypnotize more soldiers, because that's what he does. He hypnotizes them by playing a certain song. So there's these 2 fighter jet that like tries to take on the entire Japanese navy or naval, all the ships there, but it's kind of stupid because it's like, what the fuck are they gonna do? But Japan doesn't take these threats lightly, and they strike back. They were gonna attack like the president and the ship he was on, but again, Cap and Falcon had to like de-escalate and like take down the ships and like rescue them. It's also at this moment where Falcon almost fucking dies. It actually was like, oh shit, he got fucked up, and then he actually did. So after all that's happening, everything de-escalates for the time being. We also got to see moments where Ross is just stressing the fuck out and almost transforming. We get to see like these voice dialogues that seems like those two have been talking. Obviously, like they had the plan to do this. And we also get to find out that the pills he's been taking, like, eventually will turn him into Hulk, into a monster. But Stearns has been also upping the dose. So the more he takes them, the more fucked up he's gonna get. We even get to see him, like, freak out and like smash a table and it almost breaks. So yeah, he's about to transform. You get to see a scene where Joaquin is in a hospital, needed to go through surgery, and Sam is feeling upset, and Bucky comes in to comfort him, and then he fucks right off because he's got to go do the Thunderbolts. And Cyborg's like, ooh, who's that guy? And they're like, yeah, don't worry about it. So now they realize that America and Japan are fine. Ross gives a speech about everything that's going on, and this is when Stern was like, hey, I'm here. What are you going to do about it? Also, earlier, he killed a guy with this, like, hypno ray, which is like, how do you have control over people like that? You could just kill them, I guess. And there's this real fucking cringe dialogue and, like, or line delivery where he's like, I'm the good guy, and I wanted to fucking die. But he gets fucking arrested, and that really didn't last that long. But he's like, this is all part of my plan. And then he, like, has a few things done, and leaks the conversation he had with Ross, and Ross is freaking out, and everyone's trying to say, like, Ross, we got to get out of here, because he was taking questions at the speech that he was giving. But he's like, no, everything's freaking out, everyone shut the fuck up. And he transforms into the Red Hulk, breaks everything, destroys everything. And it was at this point where I was like, why the fuck is the military shooting at him? Haven't we learned by now that bullets don't do jack shit to a Hulk-like figure, or like this type of, they don't work in this situation. Captain America then shows up, and he's like, hey, calm down, what the fuck is going on? And he fights Hulk, and there's genuinely a lot of fun moments with this fight scene. Like, they fly around, jump around. The Hulk, like, or Ross's Hulk is like jumping on the White House and tearing shit up, and it's really cool. And then it just like ends. It transitions to where, or the fight transitions to this field with the cherry blossom trees, and they almost show every single scene from the trailer, and like Sam gets all of his gear fucked up and everything, and it seems like he's gonna lose. He's trying his best with his gear by slicing in and hitting him in his wounds, but nothing works. And then he decides to pull out the ultimate trump card. He activates Talk no Jutsu, and that actually works. Ross de-transforms, which I also want to say, it's so fucking shitty that they wanted to waste time showing Harrison Ford transform into the Hulk, but when he de-transforms, they just don't show that at all. What the fuck? It's not like it would have saved the film, but it's like, this movie was so lazy, they were like, oh, Red Hulk is gone now, and they snapped their fingers, and like all of a sudden, like, Harrison Ford is back. And yeah. He's like, oh no, what have I done? I've made promises to my daughter that I'd be a better person. We were supposed to go on a walk, but I did all this bad stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then he gets arrested because, of course. The day is saved. Only the White House gets destroyed. The Avengers Initiative is still going to happen eventually, but we got to get new members. Falcon is doing better, and he asks for more upgrades from the Wakanda, so hopefully that happens. Gilbert is not arrested anymore because they found out that he wasn't actually, like, he was being controlled. And then then we find out that Ross is in prison at this, like, the underwater prison from Avengers. I forgot which one. He gets visited by his daughter, which I'm pretty sure is the same actress, but I don't know for sure. But it's a really sweet moment. They get to talk, and they finally get to, like, have the talk that they want. It's very sweet, very emotional, but nothing too emotional. It's not gonna tear you up. There was a scene early in the film where he was on a phone call with his daughter, or Ross was, and that felt pretty, like, emotional and pretty deep, and I really thought that was a cool, somber moment. It didn't really last that long, but still pretty good. But then the movie ends, and then the post-credit scene happens, and we find out that Stern knows that there is war coming, and that there's other worlds out there, and then that's it. Then I, by Kendrick Lamar, starts playing. So I've been talking for a lot. I've essentially said everything about this film. It's a rough film. There is so much about it that I just don't like in general. It feels like Like, it shouldn't have been the type of film that we deserve. This doesn't feel like a Captain America film because I feel like there's just not enough action. There's a lot of talking, a lot of boring scenes. There's a lot of cringe dialogue. The main villain himself is just so fucking cringe and bad. I don't know why he was brought back just to do all this. There really is, like, I want to say 30 minutes of this film that is genuinely good. But when there is good, it's actually really good. So with all that saying, this isn't like a bad film. I really think this is a fine movie. This is just fine, but it's just fine. It's just barely like making it past mid, which is why I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. I could give it a 6. In fact, I really want to, but I really want to like give it that, that little extra because it did do something that I do enjoy. I really do think there were so many parts in this film that could have just been cut out. It's just unnecessary to have like these boring talking moments and like fill it with some action, have some more stealth in it, and like have some raised stakes, and like stop spoiling the fucking plot points of the trailer or in the trailer. That needs to stop. So yeah, Marvel, you're still in the right direction, but you kind of fell off. I need you to get off the fucking drugs and alcohol, and I need you to get back on track. I know you can make a good film. Please, Marvel, Disney, if you're not watching, you're not listening, do better. Really, like, this didn't need to be a film, if anything. And I will say this also felt like another TV series that was just put into a film. It makes sense because there's just so many boring moments, and like I just don't think this like is enjoyable. Yeah, I want to give it a 6, but I will give it that 6.5. That's how I'm feeling. That's all I'm gonna say. I really am excited to see where the MCU goes. I'm looking forward to seeing Thunderbolts as well as the new Fantastic Four film. They both look really good, and I really just hope MCU can pick things up. Hopefully they know what they're doing. There's a lot of drama outside the MCU with like recasting and Jonathan Majors apparently coming back. I don't know. We'll see. That's really all I'm going to really be saying right now. Thank you everybody for listening and watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next review. And yeah, hope you're doing well.